Good flipping afternoon, everybody. It is a very rare episode of Coffee and a Cup of Afternoon Color Commentary. It is yours truly, Color. I am here to talk about a few things. We got Vic Fangio saying Eli Apple is the better option to play. Been playing better than he has earlier this season. We got Emmanuel Acho saying Tua's either got to put up or shut up to get the bag, and he ain't done it yet. We'll get to that and much more coming right up. New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins Tailgate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins Tailgate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
Also, make sure you're hitting the link in the description below for Dubby energy drinks. Make sure you're catching Shake's videos on Dubby. He got the starter pack. He gives a good review on them. Get the dub with Dubby. All smash, no crash energy drinks. Hit the link in the description below. Links to everything can be found below in our description. And if you use the link for Fanatics, it will let them know we sent you. And they will be very grateful for it. Man, I need to get a color commentary mug on that TFTG shop commercial, man. I got to figure out how to get HB to show a mug up in that thing. It's great. It is guaranteed to make your coffee taste better, as I can attest right now, drinking out of my very own color commentary mug. And boy, have I been drinking some coffee. It has been a long time since we have met. I've been dealing with a lot of issues in my personal life, mainly to do with pain, but I'm feeling great today. So I wanted, and there's been a lot happen, a lot that I want to get on my soapbox about. Nobody can talk over me here. Nobody can misconstrue what I have to say here, because they can repeat it back over and over again as many times as they want until they understand the nuances of what I'm saying. That's why I started this whole thing. And pardon me, everybody, if you hear landscapers in the back, I can't help it. It's a nice, gorgeous day. It's kind of cloudy, but it's a nice, temperate day in South Florida. And I've got my windows open. So, and the landscapers just happen to be finishing up their work for the day. So, and the occasional plane flying by looking for fields of marijuana, I guess. But other than that, pardon any of the background noise. If it gets too bad, just let me know. I'll close the windows. Welcome to everybody in chat. We've got two Bills fans that done spammed up our chat with an argument of their own. It's probably good reading. But get some of them likes up, get some of them comments in here, get more people, get more Dolphin fans in here to talk. They're over in Twitter Spaces right now. Drag them on over here. Nobody wants to hear a bunch of people arguing on X. Back It Up Binge Podcast. How you doing? Aquavision. Thank you for coming as always. And Dolphineer, the greatest name in the business. The first one in chat. Appreciate you, Dolphineer. And also, people, let me know how my audio volume is. The ring around my avatar is not responding as large as it normally does. If I'm too low, just let me know. Because y'all know I can get louder. Just kidding. Mark, how you doing? Long time no see. Q, how's it going, Q? Cat like thief 813. Oh, he's in the 813. Wait a minute. 813. Where is that? That's familiar. Anyway, Michael K, of course. Finsanity. Sorry, I delayed a little long. Finsanity. I appreciate you showing up. Love you being here. I just had to take care of some, get my stuff in order before I sat down at this desk for a couple hours. But I appreciate y'all inviting me to talk earlier and inviting me to start a show because I really appreciate having people to talk to. And Finsanity is definitely somebody that you can learn something from, people. So, and she don't like none of the nonsense. Give her a bunch of signal. Don't give her a bunch of noise. And everybody say hi. Villain, how's it going? We got F Money 1234 here. Is that F's? I don't know. Oh, Tampa. Tampa is 813. Right. Oh, no problem, Mark. I know you all would be coming around, Mark, being Bills week, and it is the final week of the season. And we've got our biggest test, arguably, since last week. Y'all thought, really, look, same scenario as last week. If we don't show up, we're going to get embarrassed. And the Bills have not had a problem teaching us that lesson in recent games. But I did want to go over mainly recent games to really focus on this matchup for what it is in a vacuum. We've all had our trials and tribulations this year, and the Bills have to admit to that as well. We are the ones with less losses than them, with a very, very similar schedule. We are, in fact, division opponents. And other than maybe two outlier teams, we pretty much play the same schedule. So the Bills took it to us pretty handily in their house. I stress in their house because I'll get to that in a minute. But I don't think, as I'm going to show y'all, I don't think that the score ends up telling the real tale of that game. And I think we all know it. I think Bills fans know it too. So I'm going to approach this game, from a complete look. Season starts today. We're 0-0. We need to go 1-0. And it's, one of the toughest opponents we've faced in the last 5 years. It is what it is. But guess what? We do have the capability of beating them. We absolutely have the capability of beating them. So what I'm going to do, how's it going, New Attitude? Good to see you. OG Barry, forgot to say hi to you too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through kind of, what needs to be done, what needs to be avoided, things like that, and show why I think that we actually do compete well with the Bills in this iteration of our team since Mike McDaniel has been here. And it's only, look, it's the last game of the season. There's none of this, oh, you can't be a homer and you got to be objective. And I'm going to be objective. Don't get me wrong. But there's going to be none of this. There's no reason to not act like or sit here and analyze this game as if we can't win. I've told you all from the beginning that when the season starts, I'm about telling you how we can win, whether I believe we can or not. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, I believe we can anyway, but the point is whether I believe we're gonna or not, I know we can, and I'm going to tell you how we can. That's not being a homer. And if it is, so what? I'm a Dolphin fan. I'm here to encourage everybody. I'm here to give everybody a good feeling going into the game. So what? If negative people don't like that, they're entitled to be negative. And if that's what makes them get up for the game and that's what helps us win, then be as negative as you want to be. I encourage it. But I'm here to tell y'all, to give you, so we're not sitting here going, ready to rip our hair out before the game even starts. This is ridiculous. The notion that last week can speak to anything about what we're going to do or can do on the football field this Sunday at Hard Rock. I mean, yeah, you can say, well, it's evidence of this and that. What's up, Chef Jew? Everybody say hi to Chef Jew. Definitely the ambassador of the Dolphins community. And if you don't think he is, go to the game and meet him in person. And you will feel nothing but ambassadorial vibes off this man. He's a really, really genuine individual. And I always love my chance to shake this man's hand when I go to the game. So look forward to seeing you Sunday night as well, Chef Jew. But we absolutely have the capability of beating this team. The Bills have the capability of losing this one. Let's start with that. Let's start with the fact that the Buffalo Bills, let's be honest, have struggled. They got it up for us. They got it up for the Cowboys. I think one other team they got it up for that was a good team, arguably. But then they have losses to the Jets. They have losses to the Broncos, the Patriots. They struggled against the Giants. And they've struggled their last 2 weeks to get these wins. Now, they're a good team. They obviously are a good team. They have a very high power index, second in the league in power index, maybe first by now. Which what that's saying is This is the capability of what that they have to do what? That don't mean they're going to use it, and they have not used it, and they've struggled to use it this year, but they still have it. So obviously that's going to translate to getting W's against the likes of the Chargers and the likes of the Patriots, just as a matter of course. And that's what we were going to face when no different than us blowing out the bad teams. That's a matter of course too, and we did it. Theirs just happened to come at the end of their schedule. Ours didn't. But because they lost to some of the teams we didn't, we have an advantage over them when it comes to the standings and what we have to achieve and play for. So we earn that, not them. First and foremost. You know, guys like Mark can come here and point out facts. They can point out objective facts that, oh, the Bills have owned the Dolphins in the last 11 meetings, this, that, and the other. They can point out all those real facts. But in the last 4 meetings, we have been responsible for our own loss. And I can prove that to you. We started this the last 4-game series with the Bills. And the reason I'm doing that is because unlike other people, there is no way the people on this team, from coaching to players to the janitor, have any responsibility or accountability for what we've done or failed to do in the last 35 years. It is totally unfair, and I've said it from the beginning, it is totally unfair to put that onus onto the players and staff of this team. They're going to choke on their own if that's what's going to happen. They're going to choke because of what they do, not because of what anybody has done in the last 35 years. And I understand patterns. They would be continuing a pattern. I get that. But even continuing that pattern would not make them responsible for the failures of the last 35 years. They would be responsible for this failure. And so I'm going to be fair to them and hold them to account for what they have done since Mike McDaniel has been here, since this regime change again to Mike McDaniel. We started now what amounts to a 4-game series with the Buffalo Bills. Amazing it's been that many games already, huh? I mean, a division opponent, it only takes 2 seasons. You know, but yeah, I mean, we're up to a 4-game series now, a 4-game set with the Buffalo Bills for this particular iteration of our football team. So I think it is perfectly fair to judge them and hold them to account based on that 4-game set. What the heck does how could Mike McDaniel control what Flores or Philbin or Gase or anybody else did against the Bills? What can Mike McDaniel do to change any of that? He can only change what happened earlier in this season against the Buffalo Bills. He can only change what happened last year against the Buffalo Bills. Except for one thing that we don't want him to change. Can you all guess what that one thing is? Put it in chat if you know what it is. The one thing we don't want Mike McDaniel to change about the Buffalo Bills over the last 4-game series. Can anybody tell me what it is? There's one thing. And it's one thing that very few coaches before him have done recently. Nobody's got it, huh? Well, Kenneth says QB spot. That's funny. No, but it's one thing we don't want him to do different. I can't believe none of you ain't even got it. It's so easy. It's right out in front of your face. It's not anything functional. It's more this. And I know you guys are going to throw a lot of schematic or strategical things out there, so I'll go ahead and give it to you. Beat the Buffalo Bills in Hard Rock. That's it. That's the one thing I don't want him to change. Beat the Buffalo Bills at Hard Rock. Because people can talk about what the Bills have done to us the last 3 games all they want. And I can talk about it too. Let's do that. After Mike McDaniel took a team that he's never played with before, except for 3 games before that, which were all wins, by the way, 2 of them on the road. So taking a team he's never played with before. No, I'm sorry. Last year I'm incorrect. He beat the Patriots, beat the Ravens, maybe one other team. I can't remember. Okay. But then the very first time he ever faces the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, not much different a team than they are now, except maybe their running game's a little better this year. I know what you're going to say, Michael K. This discussion ain't for you. I know, 10-2 since coming into the league. But you must have missed the first part of what I said, that I'm not holding Mike McDaniel accountable for what other teams have failed to do. So let's start with the very first game Mike McDaniel ever faced. Now, you don't have to be quiet, just be logical. The very first game against the Bills Mike McDaniel ever faced with this team, and he got the dub. I don't care if it was 2 points. I don't care if it was 10,000 points. I don't care if we did it by 3 plays or 20 plays. I don't care if the Buffalo Bills ran for 500 something yards of offense or 2 yards of offense. Mike McDaniel beat the Buffalo Bills the very first time he ever faced them. Sight unseen. Not knowing very much at all about the fortitude of this team. We had just over 19 minutes of time of possession that game. And we used every minute, every second to our advantage. And we won that game. And that's all it took. Buffalo had, 39 some minutes of time of possession and could only amount to 19 points. That's the very first time Mike McDaniel ever faced them. Now, fast forward to the second time Mike McDaniel ever faced them. And the first time Tua had faced them since this whole Mike McDaniel influenced offseason, whatever you want to call it if you're a Tua-neer. Okay, fair enough. Tua was obviously improved. I give him credit to himself for improving himself. I don't think one man could ever improve another man other than maybe mentoring him in a way that gives him confidence. But other than that, Tua improved himself. And we all can agree on that. Even Bills fans have to agree on that. And Bills fans know how much I don't believe in Tua. So they're not going to tell me they don't see the improvement. They'd be lying to themselves. So the first time Tua faces them with Mike McDaniel and this whole new iteration of our offense, we lose by 3 points. in a primetime game in Buffalo in the snow. That is not making an excuse. That is simply stating the objective reality. To me, the responsibility for that happening rests solely and squarely at the feet of a rookie, brand new, only the first time he's ever played in Buffalo, coached in Buffalo, head coach, who for some reason decided we were better off throwing the football when the snow started to fall. If that doesn't happen, and we have the Raheem Mostert, Achane running game that we do now, we win that game. Period. End of story. When that snow started to fall, if we had the combination of Achane and Mostert healthy, Buffalo loses that game. Easily. By 4 points. Instead, we punted the ball back to Josh Allen, who I don't think anybody in this league is going to argue can easily march down the field in that situation and get the points he needs to win the game. While burning down the clock to nothing, which is exactly what they did. We blamed our defense, but I'm not trying to relitigate that game. I'm just simply trying to say, how do you not see that as a competitive game? How does anybody see that as Buffalo bullying us? Because that's the real question. It's not whether, and we can talk about that another day, Kenna. That's not really, that's aside from the point that I'm trying to make. We're told that we get bullied and by the Bills and they own us and all these other tropes. And we feed into it as Dolphin fans. Now, I'm not saying we haven't been bullied in games. That's not what I'm saying. If I'm saying when we do get bullied, it's because we allow ourselves to be bullied. We're a glutton for punishment. There is nothing the Buffalo Bills are doing any different than any other team we face, including the terrible teams that we've blown out. There's nothing different. There is only athletic ability that's different. That's all it is. And if you go back and watch that game, for all of these people that talk about, I'm all about the film and, oh, Culler don't watch no film and blah, 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 blah. Go back and watch the film. You will see in that particular game that we were owning the trenches on both sides of the ball that night. I challenge anybody to tell me different who has actually watched the film. But I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of the bullying debate. Not yet. I want to move on to the next game. A wild card playoff game Excuse me. In Buffalo, I can't imagine a more growing up, having witnessed the 90s. I can't imagine a other than maybe Arrowhead or Mile High back then. I can't imagine a more tough place to play than a wild card game in Buffalo. Can you? You might argue Philadelphia, but we're not in the NFC. Mile High, Arrowhead, the Dog Pound, Rich Stadium. You cannot find a harder place to play a wild card game as a road team than Buffalo. Again, not an excuse, a simple reality. A reality that I'm sure our Buffalo friends in the chat would agree with. Our quarterback is on the bench due to injury. Our second quarterback is on the bench due to injury or whatever. They don't change that much, Mark. We're getting to that game. Don't worry. And you go in there with a third string, 7th round rookie quarterback who everybody in this fan base hates, thinks is trash. You have 3 clear drops by your wide receiver that even one of those would have been another touchdown. You have a clear drop by a tight end that is no longer on our team. That could have also led to more points. And we lost by 3. Again. In Buffalo. Under those circumstances. Now, the game every Buffalo fan in this chat has been waiting for, this year's game. In Buffalo. Wait a minute, how many is that now? Put it in chat if you remember how many games in a row that is now in Buffalo. I seem to have lost count. How many is that? Oh, 3. That's right. 3rd game in a row in Buffalo. Vegas even had us as 2.5 point, 3 point underdogs. You know why? Because that was the average point differential in the last 3 games between these two teams, 2.6. That's exactly what the spread was for the game, 2.5. Third time going into Buffalo. Early in the season, when everybody says it's different, I don't think it is, but whatever. Since y'all say that, I'm going to use that to my advantage now. Early in the season, when everybody's half asleep, except for Buffalo, of course, because if they would have lost that game, we would have taken a 2-game lead already early in the season. So they weren't asleep. But we found out that day what happens when we don't show up. We found out last Sunday what happens when we don't show up. And that's what happened that day. Simply. Nobody bullied us. I could also argue about play calling in that game. Taking the ball out of Tua's hands on a 3rd and 1, only to get stopped by giving up a fumble. Well, we'll get into that part, Mr. Finisher, about Titans. That's going to segue into the Vic Fangio talk. We'll get to that one. But I want to bring up something first. Because last night I was having a discussion privately with a couple of people that I highly respect in this community. 3 people, actually, I was having a discussion with. And while I was doing that, I just so happened to needed to pull up some film from the All-22 to make a certain point. And while I was doing that, I found something else that also helped me make the point, but it's going to help me make the point right here. Just bear with me. I'm pulling it up. And I would love to be able to pull up the All-22 for you and show you what I'm talking about right now, an example, but you'll just have to actually just hear my words because I can just only describe it to you. But what I can do is I can show you the play-by-play that sits underneath the All-22, so we can all look at this together. Because one of the things I said last week, and I still contend to this day, is that I think against the Ravens, when our defense early in the game was able to finally hold their team to a punt, I thought, here's our chance. This is it. You have to take advantage of this. This is how you beat the Ravens. This is also how you lose to them. On that series, we punted the ball back to them. And at that moment, I might have even said it on stream, but at that moment, the game was lost. People can talk about, the defense. People can talk about poor performance all up and down the field. Yeah, I agree with all of that. Those are the reasons we didn't recover. But the game was lost when Dan Bailey took the field after our defense held them to a punt. That's when it was lost. And you're right, Jermaine. All of that happened because it snowballed after the point we punted. We answered a punt with a punt instead of breaking their defense right there. And I do say that in almost every single loss, V21, which is why I'm segueing that. I'm prefacing what I'm about to show you with my thoughts about the Ravens game for that very reason. What's up, Banana? 72 undefeated, Raven 187, CCRR, Miami Kid, all joining us now. Appreciate you, y'all. Well, you could say that too, Miami Kid, but that happens. It really stunk, but it happens too. You know, you can still recover from a guy like Lamar Jackson completing a 3rd and 17. That's just going to happen. Oh, I got you, V21. Facts, you could say that to every single lost color. Yeah, that's what I meant. I could see the light. How you doing? I was just tending to agreeing with that statement. But if it didn't apply to me, then it's a coincidence. But so anyway, here we go. This is the tale of the tape for the Buffalo game. People can remember all different kinds of things they want to. The Buffalo Bills fans can remember all different things they want to. And in all the discussions I've heard since that game, and everybody's saying, well, we did this at that moment and we didn't do this and that at that moment and all of that. Nobody has once done what I'm doing right now. Nobody once has pulled up this play-by-play and said, no, this is actually what happened. See, all this stuff is recorded, like by the NFL. We don't have to argue about what happened in the game or how it went or how it played out. It's right here for us to see. The NFL keeps very good records. Probably the best league, sports league to do it. So let's do this. They opened the game with a touchdown, as expected. And I thought, great, well, that's cool. Really would have been nice to hold them there because we kicked the ball off to start the game. So that means if we can hold them there, ooh, boom, we got an advantage. But we didn't hold them. I mean, it's Josh Allen on a scripted drive. What are you going to do? You know, but what we did do was the only other thing you can do. And as you can see, we went on a 10-play, 72-yard drive and answered with a touchdown. Excellent. Exactly what you have to do there. Then they came back, being at home, said, oh, yeah, hold my beer. They went 12 plays, 80 yards, and scored a touchdown. Took them 5 minutes, 20 seconds. So we said, okay, fine. We came back out in the second quarter, ran 9 plays for 70 yards, took 3 minutes and 23 seconds to answer that touchdown, 70 yards. Everything going swimmingly so far. We're matching. They come out and score a touchdown. Right again. 9 plays, 41 yards, as expected. I mean, we're trading blows here. And then we came out, ran 7 plays for 14 yards. 7 plays for 14 yards. And punted. That was the game right there. And actually not. Let me pause a second. Let me keep going because it wasn't. It would have been against the Ravens, which it was. Because our defense comes out and says, man, that really sucked. But here you go, offense. We found a way to hold Josh Allen to a punt. We found a way. We dug deep. Our defense said, nah, Josh Allen is just a man. And we held them to a punt. And what did we do to pay the defense back? We punted again. We went 4 plays in 8 yards. 4 plays in 8 yards. So now we're at 2 series in a row now. If you add them both together, that is a whopping 2 yards gained per play. Us. With the number 1 scoring offense, number 1 yardage, number 1. And we were already doing it against their defense. So it's not as if, okay, we're playing a good defense. Yeah, but we already were trading them blow for blow. What happened? Well, Raphael, Adjustment seems to be the easy answer, but I'm going to explain a play after all this that I'll show you squarely where it happened. And it is play calling. It is taking the ball out of Tua's hands that caused us to lose this game. I know the Tua haters are going to be really surprised to hear me say that. And I'm not saying Tua is a world beater, but I believe we took the ball out of his hands. And that's why we lost the game. And it was a crucial moment that's coming up in just a second. So after we rewarded our defense with a punt of our own, the Bills said, well, goddamn, if you're going to let us just keep having the ball like that, we're going to take 3 plays, 59 yards, and put up another touchdown. Why not? And here's where the game was lost. Right here. We had a chance before halftime to snatch that back because we had deferred. We are getting the ball to start the second half. So even though that happened, we still have a chance to bring it back to 0-0 or down by 1 score going into the third quarter, where we have a chance to make it 0-0 again and reset the game. But instead, on 3rd and 1, when they were stacking the box, we tried an outside zone toss sweep, and Raheem Mostert fumbled the football. Game, set, match. Right there. Doesn't matter what your defense does. You can blame the defense for going out and having a sandwich after that. Game, set, match. Right there. Doesn't matter what the score ends up being. Doesn't matter if we come back and make it a game. On your screen right now, if you're watching on YouTube, is game, set, match in that Buffalo game earlier in the season. Right there. Not because a team can't overcome that, not because blah, 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 yaggity schmaggity, but because this is the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. There's nothing your defense can do after that. Nothing. It's defense. And you just and you just basically, you're defending the castle, and your soldiers go out and hand all their swords to Josh Allen. And I'm supposed to blame the defenders? Now, thank God we came back out after they put up a field goal that sealed it anyway, because even if we get a touchdown coming out of halftime, so what? We're still down by 10 at that point or whatever. Instead of taking that advantage to reset the game or taking the lead. To our credit, we scored a touchdown coming out in the third quarter. 13 plays, 75 yards. They matched that with a field goal. Oh my gosh, is it turning back to where it was? Nope. Interception. Then a turnover on downs, a turnover on downs, a turnover on downs, and that's the game. If you want to challenge what I'm saying, call the NFL and have them edit their webpage. If you saw it a different way, if you saw different things happen, call the NFL and have them change their webpage. We'll see how much traction you get. Because that is what happened. Salute to you too, Canes, Dolphins 89. You can talk about the couple drop ball. Could have been a touchdown here. Could have been a touchdown there. We lost 48-20. And it was lost right there. And the reason I believe it was okay, we could debate whether it's play calling or whether Tua should have audibled. Okay, fine. I'm not having that debate because ultimately you don't even call that for me. It's clear what needs to be done by the head coach before those comms get disconnected. It is clear when they're stacking the box and they've got their two high safeties are 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. 10 yards. Let's do the math here. What does Tyreek Hill run in a 40-yard dash? Does anybody know? 4.2, 3, 4.3, 4.2 and a half? Tell me if you know. I don't know the exact number. Somebody throw it out there. What does Tyreek Hill run in the 40-yard dash? We'll give him 4.3 just to be conservative here. Okay? He had 10 yards to meet the safeties. And even if one of them backpedals, that's 15 yards to have a step on the safety. And nobody else but grass. Not only did we pay the guy $30 million, but we stacked our wide receiver room with the fastest guys in the NFL. We didn't stack our running back room with Derrick Henry. We stacked our wide receiver room with the fastest guys in the NFL. We have a quarterback that is known for getting the ball out quicker than any other quarterback. Even if you sensed an all-out blitz there when the box was stacked, even if you sense an all-out blitz, you need approximately 1.5 seconds for Tyreek Hill to be on the other side of those two safeties. We're talking about a 15-yard throw, a 1.5 step drop, and let the ball go before Tyreek Hill even gets to 7 yards. And that's a touchdown. End of story. Now, as we were looking at the play last night, shout out to Finn Sanity, Miss Fins, and Nene. This is the group of ladies I was watching this film with. We noticed that Tua threw the toss sweep to Mostert, and before he even let the ball go, the outside linebacker, edge rusher, had crashed into the middle of the field. And you had Jalen Waddle one-on-one with a DB in the flat, in the wide part of the field, with the entire rest of the squad, both squads, at the other end of the field, at the other side of the field. And you would have had Tua, had he faked that toss sweep, you would have had Tua all alone on a bootleg and a pitch and catch to Waddle for that 1.5 yards for the first down. That's the other alternative. Instead, we ran the ball into the teeth of one of the best defenses in the league. That's a coaching decision. That has to be a coaching decision. And I contend that that's at which point the game was lost. Just was. If we play and call plays to the best of our abilities, to all of our attributes, and execute at a high level, we not only can, but should beat this struggling Buffalo Bills squad. Period. End of story. And if we don't, I'm sorry. Going to Arrowhead or not, one more chance left or not, there will be hell to pay from this fan base. And I'm sorry, the quarterback will not be absolved because it is incumbent upon him to say, McDaniel, you are absolutely off your rocker here. I'm a professional too. I'm going to throw this touchdown. I don't give a damn what play you called. It is time for Tua to take command of this offense. The coach cannot do it. He can only call plays. And yes, they screw up all the time. All the time. Ask Brett Favre how many times his OC screwed up and he had to fix it in the huddle. I'm well aware of that, Mark. But at that point, after the fumble, you can throw everything out the window. Because at that point, you're reeling and one mistake compounds. And we all know that when you're trying to chase. McDaniel needed to relax and continue to call the game based on our attributes, not based on the fact that we were running out of time. Bottom line. That's still on McDaniel. And as you saw on the play-by-play, our defense continued to give our offense chances without Buffalo scoring. You saw that. Otherwise, it would have been 70-20. And we know that's possible. I understand, Raven. If I'm not mistaken, that pick had come after we answered their punt for a punt. So, yeah, and if you look at Tua, this is actually, I'm trying to agree with your point, Raven. At that point, you notice Tua on the sideline putting up his two fingers like, oh, it was this close. As if, oh, if I would have just thrown a better pass. And I'm just like, that is totally tone deaf. You were never that close, Tua. That close would have been throwing to Durham Smythe. Even if Roquan doesn't touch that ball there, you're throwing to a guy that had a DB glued on him. Exactly, V21. Well, let's say Tua does get that much closer and threads that ball in there. To who? A guy that's got a DB glued on him. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not easy for any quarterback. That's what makes you great or not. Being able to see Smythe at the last second before you let that ball rip. Sorry, that's what makes a good quarterback. It's not my fault. I'm not saying I don't believe he can. I'm not saying I believe he can't get there. I'm just saying he has not done that. So it's not wrong for me to not believe he can. I'm not convinced. He still needs to convince me. And yes, I want him to. Why the hell wouldn't I? I will be donning my H-hand jersey at the game this Sunday night. It's brand new. I have to. But I will be putting my Tua jersey on underneath. Because I support the whole team. I support what we're trying to do. This is what we need Tua to do. We all know our defense is about to get destroyed. If it doesn't, that's a bonus. I don't want to hear on Monday, oh, our defense. Oh, we know that going in. Good defense or not, we knew Lamar Jackson was going to be Lamar Jackson going in. I will restate the words of a guy I respect for his football acumen, and a lot of other people do too. D1 said it. Guys, we cannot be grabbing our nads over what Lamar Jackson is going to do. He's going to do what he's going to do. I followed that up by saying, yes, our best defense is our offense right now. You get them reeling like they got us reeling, and the outcome is reversed. I didn't say we were going to lose. I didn't say we were going to get blown out. I said the team that shows up is going to blow the other one out. That's what I said. And it's the same story this week, people. I'm sorry to tell you. We are not winning this game unless we blow this team out. They can come back in junk time and make it close. But I'm talking about the tail of the tape. We are not winning this game unless we blow this team out. They are not beating us unless they blow us out. That's late season football, people. That's how it's played. It's all or nothing. I cannot believe, again, we're all going to be reminded of this again. Like every fan base sitting there on Monday morning after the divisional round of the playoffs going, yeah, we were never even close. We find that out every year. Every fan base finds that out. Every NFL fan, even if you don't have a team and you just like football, you find that out every Monday after the divisional round of the playoffs. Wow, we weren't even close. It's different. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills know that. They got burned on 13 seconds. You don't think they're aware of these games and how they're played? It's us who doesn't show that awareness. We need to start showing that awareness of the stakes, of what it takes to win these games. Not just what's on the line, what it takes to win them. They score a touchdown on you, you put 3 on them. They score a field goal on you, you put 2 touchdowns on them. They punt the ball to you, that's a turnover in these games. Get it into your head right now, people. Get this into your mentality. Punting the ball in these late season games is the same as a turnover. You understand that? It's the same thing. When you're punting the ball to Lamar Jackson, you might as well throw an interception. When you punt the ball to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, you might as well throw an interception. It's not hard to figure that out. This is what 42 years of watching football has taught me. This is what watching the likes of the New England Patriots for 21 years and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. And should I list any more? They know what a punt means in these games. Ask any of them. You think I'm the one that came up with that idea? That was taught to me. Could have been somebody, who knows, could have been somebody like Jerry Rice that said it. Point I'm making is a punt in these games is a turnover. If you don't think it is, you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know late season football. You don't know how to win in the playoffs. You don't know how to win in the Super Bowl. If you think a punt is any different than a turnover. And that gets me to Tennessee because that's a great segue. I don't think Vic Fangio was being stubborn when he said he wouldn't have changed anything, because I firmly believe that that was his opinion, that that was the best way to finish that game. You can argue, you can debate whether there's a better way. You can debate whether adjustments should have been made, but it was his opinion, and it's still his opinion that that's how he would play it again. I don't think that's being stubborn because I agree with his opinion. Case in point, we had 4.5 minutes left. We've got the ball. And what did we do? We punted it. They scored a touchdown. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? Oh my God, can't let that happen again. Whew, good thing we're still up by 7 or whatever it was, 8. Whew, thank God. Lesson learned. Did we change the defense? Why? Our offense has the ball. Now there's only 2.5 minutes left. And then what did we do? Yes, we punted. But we didn't just punt. We took a sack at the 10-yard line and we punted from the end zone. So not only did we punt the ball back to them, i.e., turnover, but we didn't even get it beyond the 50-yard line. They had a short field. Oh, it's okay. They have to get a touchdown here. There's still only 2 minutes left. Let him have the middle of the field. Let him get the ball and get down. Clock is going to run. They haven't demonstrated all game that they can do anything beyond that. And unfortunately, they did. Because it was only 50 yards. It's an NFL offense with the likes of DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry, and a young quarterback with a big-ass arm. What else is your defense supposed to do? Get your offense the ball back quick? To do what? Keep turning it back over to them so we can sit there and take another 2 hours playing out 4 minutes? And so it was his opinion that that's how you play it. Because the alternative is almost guaranteeing them touchdowns if they were going to score any. Now, there's a fair argument to be made that the reason they hadn't scored any was because of the defense we were playing. But that's a fallacy. That actually is a fallacy because they would have just shortened up the game and dunked it right down the sideline, continuing to stop the clock. Now, again, I'm going down the rabbit hole of debating it. And the point is, a multiple-time Super Bowl champion defensive coordinator has that opinion. And the next time he's faced with that decision, will have the same opinion. I don't think it's being stubborn to say that. Was the reporter going to sit there? Was the journalist going to sit there and debate Vic Fangio on whether that he should or not? If not, then it's not being stubborn. That's his opinion, and he would run the same defense again. And so would I. If that makes me wrong or stupid in your eyes, okay. I mean, AB's already calling me stupid, so it doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is it's his opinion. I don't think it's being stubborn because the opinion is valid. Wrong or right, it's valid. It's sound logic. The alternative is also sound logic. That's where people get me wrong. I agree with those that would say maybe something should have been changed right there when you realized your offense wasn't helping you. Okay, fine. That's a sound logical opinion as well. And the people that don't want to come off of it, am I calling them stubborn? No. Then why is Vic Fangio being stubborn if that's just his opinion? I know, AB. I rarely get to interact with you because, I don't, the tailgate don't have you blocked. So I see your comments when I'm hosting a show, but I don't get a chance to say hi. Hope you had a great holiday and New Year, AB, sincerely. Since I haven't gotten a chance to say that to you. But yeah, I'll be fair. You don't tell me I'm stupid. You just tell me I'm wrong. You're right. Stupidly wrong, but I mean, I get the whole idea. You should have changed something. Maybe that night he might have been being stubborn. Okay, fine. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to translate that to this is why Cam Smith is not getting any action. And this is, again, a great segue to what I wanted to talk about Vic Fangio. And I'm going to pull up the comment here. Nene was kind enough to retweet this on Twitter. Complete with Bam's meme. I'm going to go back here. Let's see. We'll put it right there. And I understand the sentiment because it does seem like this, he's kind of an old curmudgeon, has that personality of, not wanting to change and all that. So here's the tweet, and it says from David Fiorones, Dolphins defensive coordinator Vic Fangio on playing Eli Apple. Quote, Eli recently has played better than he has earlier in the season, end quote. And David says Fangio added, he's a veteran and understands the defense. And the reason I'm bringing up that tweet is because, everybody's up in arms about him playing Eli Apple over Cam Smith, because now I want to steel man some people's argument because it gets lost, and I don't want it to get lost, because you know how we do things on Twitter and YouTube. We attribute some people's opinion to others just because they say something similar or whatever. And I want to be clear that for Nene's part, she's simply wanting to know why, in all the junk time that we've seen throughout this season, why is Cam Smith not yet prepared to be better than Eli Apple? Like, in other words, if we would have given him game time opportunities throughout all this junk time we've seen throughout the season, good and bad junk time, why is it that we're now saying, oh, Eli gives us the best chance to win, when this guy could very well have gotten himself better? And so that's actually Nene's point, and I want to make that clear, because she doesn't fall into the camp of people that are just willy-nilly saying Fangio is stubborn or whatever else. She just simply is convinced, in my opinion, this is me, speaking for her, of course, and she can always speak for herself. So, but what I inferred from that was that Cam Smith, for all of his faults, kind of has to be better. In other words, we're not buying the banana. We're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe based on what we've seen at camp. And in the times we have seen Cam Smith, he almost has to be better than Eli Apple. Almost not calling Fangio a liar per se, but to say that his decision is unsound in thinking that Eli Apple gives us the best option. So that's fair. That's a fair position. And I wanted to make sure that position was cleared up, so we're not associating everybody's opinion with everybody else's. But for my part, in my opinion, I think Fangio has proven that he's not afraid or has the ability to put guys out there that are young and unproven per se in an emergency situation, like, for instance, we're in now with our edge rusher. We've got Jalen Phillips went down, and we were already peppering in this other player. And now that Chubb's out too, I expect, and Fangio has not had a problem with putting a late round pick in Cameron Good, the other Cam on our squad, the other man with a crooked nose, Cameron Good. He's been playing the hell out of him when it comes to comparing, relative to Cameron Smith's action. So it does show that Fangio isn't necessarily making this decision out of stubbornness, but that his expert opinion has convinced him that Eli Apple gives us the best option to win. Because if Cam Smith did, he would put him in no different than he's putting Cam Good in, because whether Cam Good ends up being the sleeper that I believe he is, it don't matter. He's literally the only option we have right now. So it's time for Cam Good to step up. But my point is, he's not out there going to get somebody else real quick. He's not putting Melvin Ingram on there, and maybe he will in rotation, but he has had no problem putting a late round pick, Cameron Good, on the field, especially given that Cameron Good was not the highest linebacker we took. and the other one has not even sniffed the field in Channing Tindall. Different type of linebacker, I know, but with Jerome Baker down and Duke Riley having to, tote the rock, I guess, if you want to talk about the main middle linebacker position, we see nothing from Channing Tindall. We're rotating Van Ginkel over there and having him do double duties on the edge. No Channing Tindall. Yet we're perfectly fine putting Cameron Good in the game. So I think that lends some credence to the idea that he simply thinks these guys are just not good enough at this point. Not that they won't be, but that they're just not now the best option to be on the field. I mean, it is what it is. Cameron Good has followed the track right along the way every player should and has. He's gotten major time on special teams. We finally signed him to the 53-man roster because it was our last chance without losing him off the team. So we made that choice to keep him on. And we started ramping up his time on special teams. He's been on virtually every special teams play for the last 5 or 6 weeks. And now that we've suffered some injuries in his position, he's getting rotation time on the line. That's normal track record for a rookie, NFL rookie. No matter what draft, how late you were drafted, if you weren't drafted first round, that's generally your path. Yet Channing Tindall, Cam Smith, Eric Izukanma, these guys, they just didn't yet. Now, Eric is a little bit different story with the injury and all that, but it still kind of fits in the same point. Yeah, good point, AB. We got Robert Jones. We built him up. Achane, right out the gate. Achane. Do we have to bring up any better example than Devon Achane? Who looks like he's been running in the league for 10 years? I mean, I know running back translates quicker. I get that. But so does linebacker, if you think about it. Contain the edge. Don't get burned on a over the middle pass and make the tackle. That's linebacker. I mean, it is what it is. Again, these are all answers, questions that are going to be answered come Sunday. Because if we get the dub, none of this matters. Obviously, it's whatever move is the right move if we get the dub. I honestly don't think the game is going to hinge upon. Look, let me be clear here because I understand people think that Eli will get burned and that could cost us the game. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is, if winning this game hinges upon the decision to play Eli over Cam Smith, then we got way more problems to talk about besides Vic Fangio. That's my overarching point. There are way more problems than the stubbornness of one Vic Fangio. If this game hinges upon that decision. There it is. I can't say it any clearer way of how I feel about it. I mean, okay, fine, he's stubborn. Still doesn't hinge. This game still doesn't hinge on that. And if it does, we got more problems than we ever thought we had. Just is. I mean, really, think about it. It'd be the same, Q. It would be the same if he decided to play Cam Smith and the people that think, oh, he ain't ready. if they were all calling Vic Fangio stubborn, it'd be the same way. This game cannot hinge on that decision. It can't. I mean, if it does, then what were we ever doing? What have we ever been talking about if this game hinges on that? And if it does, then Vic Fangio should be our head coach. Because if he is being stubborn, it's incumbent upon our head coach to tell him as such. I don't care about the separation between defense and offense and all that. You're the head coach. If he had a problem with Vic Fangio's stubbornness, he'd be telling him that. Now, he may be. I don't know. Not saying he's not. Still boils down to Mike McDaniel. Because as Lewis pointed out, everybody was all about getting Boyer out of here and getting this man in here. Now we're talking about how stubborn he is. I thought Boyer was stubborn. At least Boyer's defense didn't get blown out by 28 points. .6. That was the average point differential against the Buffalo Bills with Boyer's defense, with Boyer calling the defense. 2.6. It's 28 with Vic Fangio. Has nothing to do with stubbornness. Anyway, there was something else I wanted to touch on. I was gonna open up a panel for y'all to talk. That's why everybody kind of wanted to go. Yeah, a couple people. I mean, I'm not gonna make it a melee. I'm trying to get out of that stuff. But there was one other thing. Oh, McDaniel. Was it McDaniel? No, it was. Oh, that's right. Emmanuel Acho. Emmanuel Acho. What can I say about Emmanuel Acho? Let's see if I can find. Oh, here we go. Let me put that on. All right. We're going to probably see how I want to do this. I know what I'll do. I'll bring it up on my phone. And hopefully I won't squelch my microphone. Let me make sure you guys can hear it. We're going to play the audio of what Emmanuel Acho had to say. I don't want to get the context wrong. And I don't want to be accused of improper context. So we're gonna let y'all hear it yourselves. Shout out to Miss Finns who broke this earlier on her show. She played it for us to hear on her show this afternoon. It went 5 hours, man. Wow. Good for her. Really fun show too. EM, Lewis, Finsanity, Nene, all up on the panel at the same time with Miss Finns. Y'all got to go check it out. I had some things to do. I couldn't join in, but here we go. So let me know if you can hear it. Tua ain't been paid yet, though. Could you hear that? Like clearly?
Tua ain't been paid yet, y'all. No. Tua in the same draft class as Joe Burrow. Yeah. Paid. Jalen Hurts. Paid. Justin Herbert. Paid. And then you got Tua. He ain't been paid yet. If you cannot win the division when you had a 3-game lead, if you cannot win the division when the Bills started the season without a defensive coordinator, then fired their offensive coordinator in the middle of the season, then when in God's name can you win the division? You can't win a division when the Bills started 6-8. Then when can you win a division? You can't win a division when you started 5-0. When can you win a division? I may miss a couple statistics because I'm going off the top of my head. Apologize in advance. If you can't win a division when you win a game 70-20, when can you win a division? You can't win a division when Tyreek Hill almost breaks an NFL record. When you gonna win it, fam? You got one of the best defensive minds in football. You got one of the best offensive minds in football. So it ain't the coaches. So, Tua, if you can't win the division now, I am telling you right now, everybody and their mama is going to start questioning, will you ever be able to win the division? It is about making it to the dance, but it's also about knowing you can secure your spot annually in the division, annually in the playoffs. Only way to secure your spot annually is by winning the division. So the reason Tua's got more pressure is, bruh, if you blow a lead to Josh Allen when you have that kind of advantage, when in the world you going to be able to beat them? They started 6-6, and you couldn't win the division then. You will not be able to win the division as I can predict it. You ain't going to be able to keep Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and Mostert had 21 touchdowns. You can't win the division when Mostert has 21 touchdowns. Shady, when you had your 21, guess what? We won the division. Mine's a little different. It don't matter. We won the division in Philadelphia in 2013. So if you can't win a division now, when can you win it?
I mean, there you have it, folks. I mean, that's Tua's guy. That's not me saying that. That's Tua's guy saying that. I know. Look, we want to say wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat when it's convenient, but then when we want to talk about what he's been for the past 2 years, we put out his win-loss record all the time. That's Tua's guy saying that. That's not me. That's not TD. That's not Lewis. That's not Pete. It's not Mr. Negative, who goes by Canadian Finns fan now, by the way. It's not any of them guys. That's his guy. That's the guy that has been most positively vocal for Tua in the entire national media. And I cannot disagree. The time is now. And you got Joe Shad from the Palm Beach Post calling to pay him $50 million a year. Just do it because of what he's put down. Okay, fine. But y'all hated Joe Shad 3 months ago when he was telling you his problems. I rather like Joe Shad. He's the only voice I have up here in Palm Beach County as far as beat writers go. But that's Tua's guy, Emmanuel Acho. That's not, I mean, take your pick. That's not Stephen A. Smith, who, by the way, is now hoping the Miami Dolphins lose because he's sick of us. Well, that's a given. That's his normal bloviation. Yeah, Dan Orlovsky. I think Q Orlovsky might be going down with the ship, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens Sunday, but I don't know, man. I don't think Orlovsky's ever going to get off that train, man. To his credit. I mean, I guess he likes what he likes, you know? Uh, it just kills me I mean, there's nobody ready to go mob Emmanuel Acho's house, you know? I got to deal with a whole entire social media community coming down on me when I say the same damn thing. Oh, until lately, of course, because people just can't, you know, the ones that ain't from Alabama just they can't imagine shit anymore. They get, you know. But we'll see. Again, I'm not saying I believe he can't. I'm just saying I'm not convinced he can. That's both arrive at the same point. My hope is stronger because of how he's improved. My hope is strong as it's ever been. But that's all it is hope. All I have is statistics in regular season games against various opponents to tell you why he should be able to do it. That's all I can say. It doesn't convince me of anything. What convinces me is a W Sunday night when the clock hits 0, when he is holding a dub over his head. That's when I'll be convinced. And if it don't happen Sunday, there's one more chance. And that, unfortunately, will have to be an Arrowhead. That's it. I am done after that. I've been as fair as I possibly can be, and I'm still continuing to be fair. I am going to tell you how we're going to win Sunday. I'm not going to tell you why we're going to lose. I'm going to continue to be fair, but that's it. He has 2 chances left. Because if he don't get it done Sunday, there'll be plenty of people out there to convince us why it went south for a different reason. I'm not going to do all that energy. I'm just going to simply wait for Arrowhead and his last and final chance. This is exactly what we wanted. Did we not? All of us. Non-believers, believers, everybody. This is what we wanted. A chance to clearly prove what you can do beyond the sum of your parts. Because that's what it really is. Can he be better than the sum of the parts? That's what makes a good quarterback. That's what makes a franchise quarterback. That's what makes a winner, as Acho said, annually putting yourself in position to be in the dance. Can you be greater than the sum of your parts? If you can't, then you can't. No big deal. Thank you for all you've shown us. It was fun. But that's it. No, he can't. He has thus far not, AB. What's your point? You can continue for the rest of time with the whataboutisms, but all you're telling me is there's another quarterback that chokes. That's all you're telling me. He's not available. So the question ain't between him and Tua anymore. But guess what? He doesn't have to prove whether he chokes again or not until the divisional round. Ooh, wonder why that is. He doesn't have to worry about choking in the wild card round. Ooh, I wonder why that is. And Kenna, I would normally agree with that, except that that's not the motives of our organization. If it were, then yeah. But they'll just take that good performance and give it as a reason to pay him and continue this experiment. The thing of it is, though, Q, and you know, because I'm fair, and what I just said was fair about all AB is doing is telling me about another quarterback that chokes. That just makes two of them, you know, and so I'm willing to say that I don't have any loyalty to Lamar Jackson. He's no longer available. The moment he became unavailable, he became a Baltimore Raven to me, and that's all he'll ever be. So the thing of it is these seasoned warriors, yeah, as you astutely pointed out or put it, you know, those are the ones that don't realize that a punt is a turnover in a playoff game. Oh, that's what I was going to say, Q. Those seasoned warriors you're talking about that choke in the playoffs, they've had a chance to choke in the playoffs. Skylar Thompson's had a chance to choke in the playoffs. And I don't want to hear none of this, Monday morning after Pittsburgh or Jacksonville or Arrowhead. I don't want to hear none of this. Oh, well, it was only his first playoff game. Baby steps, Culler. He'll do it next year. No. I was told that the difference in the game last year was our quarterback. We played Buffalo to 3 points in a wild card game, and I was told the difference was our quarterback. It ain't coming on my show, Banana. And you're right, it will be coming, but it ain't coming on my show. F that. Yeah, I saw you trying that narrative earlier today, AB. Now tell us how many people were injured for the Ravens last week. The heck out of here with that, man. You, of all people. That just makes it even better for Tua if he wins. What are you trying to play down his win for? Look, right here, people. AB trying to play down Tua's upcoming win already. Thank you, Crypto. I wasn't sure of the exact number. So I counter your 18, AB, with Baltimore's 21 players injured. Oh, that's right. Half of which were on their defense that we could only put 19 points on. Oops. Yeah, Q. Starters like Kyle Hamilton. 19 points against a depleted defense. A defense that we put 42 on last year. What happened? Our defense gave up the same 38, 35 points by the third quarter we gave up last year. What happened? And you ain't going to tell me that every one of you Dolphin fans weren't sitting there going, when it was 34, when it was 35 to 13 in the third, okay, every single one of you were like, there's still a chance. Why? Because of what we did last year on offense. You know what we did this year? 19 points. 19 points. And then, yeah, after 35, it snowballed. Well, we're riding with Tua because that's the only quarterback we have Sunday and in our playoff game, Newfoundland. I ain't off the train. I'm just saying I'm not convinced. I never have been. I've maintained that throughout all of this. I bought a Tua t-shirt while not being convinced. I actually like the guy. I want him to be that guy. I don't know how many, I guess I have to write it in like every language. Tower of Babel or something. Oh, yeah. 25 average point fantasy tight end out for them. Sorry, AB, I'm the one that polished the logo on the side of the Tua train, and that logo is a dolphin, not an Alabama symbol. If your Tua train has Crimson Tide, painted Crimson Tide, then I don't want to be on your train. Well, yeah, Newfoundland, of course it is. But that's the part that people like AB doubt about me. And that's why it's insulting. Like when people like him talk about, oh, you're not allowed back on the bandwagon. A bandwagon I helped build. The fuck out of here. How about Tua ain't allowed on my bandwagon? How about that? Not you, Newfoundland. I wasn't speaking to you. I'm just speaking generally. My bandwagon didn't even need a quarterback in 2008 when we won the division. My quarterback didn't need a star head coach and a $30 million wide receiver and all of this other crap. Okay. We didn't need all that. That quarterback did. That coach didn't even need all that to win the division. Don Shula didn't need to tank to get Dan Marino. We just came off a Super Bowl appearance. We were drafting 30th or 29th. Well, maybe 27th. I forget how many teams were in the league then. We had the second to last pick in the first round when we got Dan Marino. I mean, we might have moved up. I don't know. But point is, we didn't need to tank to do it. Now we go and tank, and we got this guy that hasn't shown anything in a big game, in a big moment at all in 4 seasons. Hey, Acho's words. Acho's words. Every one of them been paid. As if these teams just go around giving money out for mid. Every one of these guys have been paid. Without even any question. Without even any argument in their fan base. None whatsoever. And that may be true, Jermaine. We were a laughing stock before Tua. Guess what? You seen any of them stop laughing yet? Have you seen any of them stop laughing? Have the Bills stopped laughing? Have the Ravens stopped laughing? Have the Chiefs stopped laughing? Have the Eagles stopped laughing? Have the Tennessee Titans stopped laughing? They're probably laughing the hardest. Well, Kenna, we might get an answer to that question. Careful what you ask for. I can tell you who's laughing their ass off every time he puts 50 points on us is John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. We were 4 points. 3 point. We were a field goal away from giving up as many points as we did in the tank year to that team. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. In 3 trips to Baltimore, let's do the math. We beat them in Hard Rock, held them to 9 points. But let's talk about our 3 trips, our 3 most recent trips to Baltimore, shall we? Wait. Almost got it wrong. And 38. 153 points. They have scored 153 points on us in 3 games in Baltimore. That averages to a 50 burger every game. It's 51 points a game. And 2 of those games were this team with this coach and this quarterback and this $30 million wide receiver and this young receiver that's already in the Hall of Fame for a rookie season. $153 points. At what point do you say, without any offense, that's what your defense is going to give up? It don't matter whether you have their defense. You could have the Browns defense, because we answered that 153 points with a whopping total of 71. $153 to 71. That's that's double the amount of points we've put down on them. It's 27 points a game. They have outscored us 51 to 27 in every game in Baltimore. $51 to 27. If it was 51 to 35, I would give you the defense. I would say, hey, Tua is a great quarterback. It's our defense just can't stop them. Banana, they call me a hater. If I went down the street naked with a number 1 painted on my chest, they would still call me a hater. So, hey, no big deal. But at some point, when you're talking about the amount of offense you've built up, at some point, you got to score more than that in these games. No, AB, I'm not. I actually am. I only hate Tua when we lose. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I hate the entire team when we lose. Except for Achan and Durham Smythe. Hey, Mr. Finisher, if we win this week and we go to the divisional round, we're getting close. You might get what you're asking for. We win the Super Bowl. Yeah, the parade probably don't want to come up to Palm Beach County, because you're going to see a naked Culler running around with a number 1 painted on his chest, and that's not a good sight. Yeah, AB. And so do you. You just ain't willing to admit it. I have less inhibition than you do, AB. But we all know exactly how you feel when Tua craps out. We know exactly how you feel. And if it don't hurt you, then you're the one that ain't a fan. How could it not hurt you? Disappoint you? Yeah, I generally hate things that disappoint me. That's human, human. My expectations are too high. All right. Well, then fair enough. If that's what you think, that's an opinion. I don't think my expectations are any higher than the owner. I figure if my expectations are as high as the owner, I'm riding in the right car. That's all. It's simple as that. I did drop the link, even though we all know AB's not going to use it. I dropped the link for anybody else that, wants to get their opinion out, even if it differs from mine. But yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm just not going to feel like peaches and cream if we get the same result that we've typically been getting in these types of games. I'm not going to be happy. And I'm not going to be happy with Tua. I'm not going to be his biggest fan. Now he goes out there and throws down 500 and 4 touchdowns, and we lose by 5 touchdowns. Whatever, it is what it is. But point to me to the game that's ever happened in 4 seasons. We absolutely did expect a Super Bowl with Dan Marino. And there was a good reason to have that expectation. When Peyton Manning went 3-13 his first season, you didn't hear a peep out of Colts fans. You didn't hear one word. Nothing but patience. That's all you heard out of them. I wonder why that is. Yeah, you're right, AB. He sucked. Go ahead and scream it on the mountain. We know how you feel about Dan Marino and this team. You're just exposing yourself, bro. Here, have a Bills fan tell you, AB.
Good afternoon, Culler. I thought your points were really interesting this afternoon that you made about the last 4 games, but I kind of came back and said rosters differ from year to year because you really can't take last year's roster and the moves that are made. The Dolphins last year didn't have Ramsey. They had different personnel. The Bills had 2 guards that are no longer with the team and brought in McGovern and Osiris Torrance, and you didn't have A-Chain last year. So the teams differ enough significantly, and the only body of work that we have to make a comparison on is the game that was played in week 4.
Well, that's true. That's true. But given the changes that you're talking about for both teams, that shouldn't translate to a disparaging loss like that without the Dolphins just not showing up.
I think you look at that game, and I think, first of all, you look at that game, and the point spread was 28 points.
What I'm saying, Mark, is what I'm saying is take everything away that we've changed. We came at you with our starting quarterback, not a 7th-string guy or a 7th-round guy that played you to 3 points.
I don't take any
what
value.
I'm saying is you would have to agree that we got better. That we came at you guys this season with something better.
Sure. Can't you agree that Buffalo's gotten better?
Of course.
So the teams
but
are
not
different.
To the point of a 28-point disparity, bro.
No. It's Culler. First of all, I don't want to say that the Bills won. The Bills, the scoreboard said 28 points. Was there a 28-point difference between the 2 teams on the field? No, there was not.
Well, that's all I was saying.
There were key things that happened in that game. But I look at the situation now, and the only thing that's really relevant now is what happens on Sunday night. And unfortunately, the way things have played out for Miami is that you have a horribly significant injury list. The team that you put on the field in week 4 is not the team that you're going to be putting on the field in week 18, nor is Buffalo's team, because Buffalo started week 4 with Daquan Jones.
That could narrow our focus. That could also narrow our focus, Mark. which is,
and
if you
and
ask
Trey
me, one
White
of the
and those
problems
players
we had in the first meeting was not
and those
narrowing our
players.
focus.
I mean, you didn't have Jalen Phillips the first game in Buffalo, so that's basically a wash. You did have Chubb. You had everybody else, and you didn't have Ramsey. So there are differences. But I think I don't know what I'd really love to hear what your opinion is. Let's assume that Pittsburgh wins on Saturday, Jacksonville wins on Sunday, and you don't have that weirdness of a tie between Houston and Indianapolis. Does that help Miami's chances, or does that help Buffalo's
Well, it
chances
does
more?
nothing. It does nothing for our chances in the game against you guys, but it does absolutely help our chances of going deeper. Considering that if we were to take care of the business of splitting our series with you, then yeah, we would be at home. Starting the playoffs, we wouldn't have to travel to Kansas City. So,
To be honest with you, Culler, I think you can beat Kansas City with the personnel that you currently have on the
so
roster.
do
You are
I.
going to
But
get
that
healthier.
that stadium is known for getting wins, no matter what the matchups are like, bro. And you know that as well as I do.
Trying to say that there's been some a little biased
Well,
officiating going on in Kansas City
it's
over the
also
years.
the atmosphere, bro. I mean, it is hard to win in that stadium, man. Let's face it.
No, it is, and I'm going to be very honest
It's
with
the
you.
same
And
credit I
I know
gave to you
Buffalo.
all with your stadium, which is why I think our chances are so much better this game.
I'm probably going to tick off some Buffalo fans here, but now you know me. I don't like Chris Kerr as a general manager. I think he's made some really, really bad decisions for short term and long term. But I will say that I thought the team that he put together on paper, the start of the season in week 1, was literally a legitimate top number 1 potential seed in the AFC. That team, before it was injured, when you take into consideration the things that were done on the offensive line, and I will give Butch Berry massive amounts of credit because that offensive line, through a myriad of injuries, has played spectacularly, and I will give McDaniel a lot of credit for a lot of the play calling and the motion and the things that he's done to enhance the Dolphin running game. I think it's been a masterstroke of work. It has been. What you've been able to do with Mostert, what you've been able to do with A-Chain have been special, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, you showed it against Denver with 70 points. That game was a masterpiece in great offensive football, great offensive play calling, everything.
But let's be real. We
I still have
showed it
that game
against you all
recorded because
too.
I was so
H-Chan
impressed.
busted off a 55-yard run against you all and put up a $105 as our second running back.
I know. I know, and I thought the team was very good. And then you take a look at the team as it was originally composed. Baker's healthy. You have Chubb. You have Phillips. You've got Agba. You've got obviously Wilkins. Seiler's played magnificently for you this year. He's got 9.5 sacks. He's earned more than that $13.5 million that you're paying that you're paying him. I thought he's done a great job. And then Ramsey came back at midseason. I think Howard had lost a step. I think he maybe could have moved on, but that is what it is. I just think, I'm trying to take any homerism out of this. Is that the difference in the game is if Buffalo was playing a healthy Miami team in Miami on Sunday night, Miami would win the football game. I don't think with the depth of injuries that you have at the positions that you've had them in, I don't think it's a winnable game if Buffalo comes in. But again, as you've said, and you're absolutely correct, who is going to go in and show up? Buffalo didn't show up for games 5 times this season. They showed up for the Philadelphia game. Philadelphia was better by 3 points. The Dolphins, when they don't show up, they get dusted. Although I will say the Philadelphia game, you guys got hosed on the officiating. The officiating that game, what was it? Philadelphia had no penalties for no yards, and Dolphins had 10 for over 100. That's just ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. And actually, the same exact thing happened to Buffalo a couple of weeks later when Buffalo went and lost to the Eagles. The officiating was so biased for Philadelphia, and I think Philadelphia's going to may possibly even be a one and done out in the NFC because they're not as good as as what their record stipulates. So yeah, I think you guys, you can forget about the score in the Philadelphia game because you could take 10 points of what Philadelphia had and give it back to the officiating. So that's a one-score game in Philly.
I just see it like if you guys are going to compartmentalize your struggles over the last few weeks in beating mediocre teams and dare I say bad teams, then I'm going to compartmentalize what happened last week just the same and what happened against y'all in the first meeting. I'm going to do the same thing and look at this game as whoever throws down is going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, if you play the Buffalo team that showed up against the Chargers and showed up against New England, and the same Miami team shows up that played against Baltimore, I'm not trying to say you have trash on trash, but it's pretty close.
You would expect it to be a close win by whoever. Yeah.
By whomever, yeah. But
and
likely
that wouldn't be us because of who.
Yeah, Allen does. Well, Allen came out today in a press conference, and I thought it was really interesting. He had said that it doesn't matter what his career historical record has been against Miami. It's a different team with different players, with different schemes, and the schemes that he saw in Week 4 will not be the schemes that he sees in Week 18. And that he's going to go out and he's going to do
as Dolphins fans certainly hope the fuck not.
Well, I mean, you should go back to that first game. Let's look at that game in Buffalo a little bit closer. Okay.
Well, I want to look first before you get started because I heard a lot of misnomers and
what you call it. I did want to bring Crypto up and get his word in real quick.
I want to make a quick correction because I was at the Philly game, and when the team tells you what they're gonna do, and you don't do nothing on defense to stop it, I don't care what the officials do, because on that last drive was a microcosm of how that game went. Even though we had a 10-0 because we offset some penalties by them, it would have been 14-4 had the penalties been upheld, but that's neither here nor there. I'll say this. When the Eagles went forward on 4th and 1 at their own 23-yard line and said you can do nothing to stop us, that's when I know they checkmated us, because there's nothing our defense could do, because all they had to do was get 8 yards on every possession, and they knew they was guaranteed 2 yards with a push tush. And if there's nothing you can do to stop that, and there was nothing we can do to stop it in that game to close the gap. That was the difference in that game, that final drive.
Yep, and the only defense against that is to score so many points that it don't matter.
Exactly, because it's not like the Eagles went without a loss. The Jets beat them the previous week.
The Jets beat them. I personally thought that the Dolphin game. Do you remember what the final score of that Philadelphia game was, Crypto? Because I don't remember. I know it was like a 13-point game.
It was 31-17. 31-17.
Yeah, but I thought the officiating in that game was horrendous, and I'm a Bills fan, and I thought you guys got hosed.
I get that, but I don't think that would only probably close the margin. I think the fact that they had the ball last, them telling us if all else was equal, they were still winning that game.
Well, Buffalo,
because there was no key penalties called on their last drive.
Right.
There was no key penalty called on their final possession, is what I'm saying.
Right. And Buffalo had them 31-28, and their kicker kicks a 59-yard field goal in a pouring rainstorm. So what the hell? Put the thing into overtime, and then the defense.
Yeah, it was like almost 60 yards. He kicked a field goal in the rain. Yeah,
it was 59. It was 59, Crypto. He kicked it 59 yards in the rain. I'm sitting there chalking up the win, and next thing you know, I'm sitting there chalking up an in-your-face loss.
I thought he was going to miss. See, the thing is, I thought he was going to miss it because those two Kelsey penalties back-to-back that added those 10 yards to it. It added an extra 10 yards that made it 59.
You can't cry over spilled losses, I guess.
I thought you guys actually kind of had that one when Kelsey got those 2 bonehead penalties. To be honest, I was like, okay, that's it. It's done. It's raining. He's not making it.
In that particular game was the fact that Allen has historically played really, really well in good climate games, but he's been terrible in cold weather games. He's been terrible in cold weather games in Buffalo. Historically loses games that doesn't play well. That game was a terrible weather game, and Allen rang up like 500. The team rang up 505 yards and still lost, and then came on from that point forward. But those I'm going to give the Patriots credit, and I don't want to often do that because they make me want to throw up. but their defense was really, really good. That game, and I'm sure you didn't watch it because you had other focus going on with your game. But
Culler, are they still
Buffalo
top 10? My bad, Mark.
Who's still top
My
10?
bad, Mark.
Who's that?
Is the Patriots still top 10 defense now? Because they still, I thought they was hovering around the top 10.
Let's look
So
at
their defense is really not slouchy.
So
they played well, and they got key injuries too. I mean, they got three key guys out.
Hold on, Mark. Hold on. Currently, the Patriots are ranked 9th.
Okay, I thought they was still top 10.
Bills moved up. Bills moved up from last week. They were at 13th or 14th. They're up to 10th now. And the Dolphins.
But just to make a point about how things work, New England got their first touchdown, as you guys may remember. New England returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown last week. So New England opened up the game, returning the opening kickoff for a touchdown. But Buffalo then scored 20 consecutive points. But here's the point. It was 20-7, all because of defense. Allen started out the game 2 for 11 for 5 yards, and the Bills led 20-7.
Yeah, you're right.
So, Allen put together one drive in the second half, but again, in the second half, they had multiple chances to just end that game. And they would move out to midfield, and then they would sit there, and they would do something incredibly stupid, or Allen would throw a pass, and Buffalo had 4 drops in that game. So the whole thing was a mess, and it just they played a horrible game in LA. They should have lost the Charger game. They deserved to lose the Charger game, but you kind of saw that coming. The Chargers, getting mollywopped by the Raiders. They had the Thursday night game. They fired their coach. They fired their GM. They fired the world, and they had the long rest. Buffalo had to come off that big win against Dallas, where they were sky high, and go to LA on short rest, and they almost paid the price, the ultimate price for it.
The thing is, Mark, though, given the history that Josh Allen has versus us, we need him to translate the Charger game to one of our games for once. Because he's always seemed to get amnesia when he plays us.
I don't know if
that's what we need. We need that Charger game versus us this coming weekend.
Yeah, the problem here is that the Josh Allen that played against the Dolphins in Week 4 is not the Josh Allen that's currently playing through Week 17. It's like
you guys got a new coordinator.
His shoulder is more sore.
Yeah, you guys got a new coordinator. That's why you guys trying to run the ball more.
Well, yeah, it's not a bad idea. They invested a ton of money in the offensive line and draft choices in the offseason. They had to build the offensive line because you have to look at something. If you go to the playoffs every year and you run face first into the wall and face plant because you're trying the same thing over and over and over again, it's like the old classic idiom. If you continue to do the same thing and it doesn't work, go try it again. Well, they tried it for 3 consecutive years. They lost the championship game in Kansas City, deservedly so, because Kansas City was better. They lost next year because they couldn't handle a lead with 13 seconds left. And then last year they face-planted against the Bengals. Why they face-planted against the Bengals? So if you run the same scheme and it fails, because Culler will all be in agreement that the only thing that's relevant at the end of the year is that there's 1 winner and 31 second places. So for Buffalo to stay in the same scheme and do the same things over and over again was going to lead to the same level of failure. They weren't going to win. So what they did is they invested in their offensive line. They started going to 12 formation. They were going to go 2 tight ends. And I've heard a lot of stuff about, well, you got Kincaid and Kincaid can't do this. Kincaid was never brought in to block. He was actually brought in to replace the Cole Beasley factor. Unfortunately, they're not using him right. Dalton Kincaid is a seam-breaking receiver. He's not an inline blocker. He's really a flex tight. He's really a flex guy. He's not a tight end at all. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is they overpaid Deontay Hardy for a contract that he hasn't lived up to. Sherfield is what Sherfield is. He's a nice blocking player. And yes, when Joe Brady came in for the fired Ken Dorsey, he started to really push the running game. And that's why you're seeing Diggs. Diggs only played like 42% of the snaps. I think it wasn't last week. It was the week before. Because Sherfield's a better blocker. Gabe Davis is a better blocker. And they want to dominate in the run game. Yeah, Diggs played 42% of the snaps against Dallas. So Diggs isn't going to get the opportunities. But now you take a look at Miami's situation, and could you guys maybe explain to me why Eli Apple is still getting the start? Because I don't understand it.
It's got to be practice. What's going on in practice
Vic
between him
Fangio
and Cam Smith?
Vic
Vic
Fangio
Fangio.
stated that he's been playing better than he was earlier this season, and that he understands the defense better.
Yeah, it's a practice
and
thing.
he's got veteran experience. That's Fangio's words.
And since you guys are, big, huge Dolphin fans, and you're tied into the team to a bit, what's going on with Cam Smith?
It's mixed on what's really going on behind the scenes. I can't really say. I'm not even going to speculate, to be honest with you.
Reading the tea
on,
leaves
on his
Mark,
whole thing about behavior
leaves,
issues or not.
And based on what we're doing with Cameron Good, and guys like that are rookies or that are late round picks and whatever else. Anyway, given that, you could only speculate that he doesn't think he's good enough. That Fangio,
it's unfortunate.
That's it.
Because when we look at where the Dolphins have been hurt, in my opinion, was that obviously there was significant draft capital expended to go get Tyreek Hill. You can't deny it. Tyreek Hill is possibly one of the top 3 players in the NFL, if not the best player in the NFL. So it's a justifiable expense for the draft capital that was spent on him. But at the same point, some of the general manager decisions that were made that didn't need to be made. The Armstead contract obviously is turning out to be an albatross because of the injury history that's there. And every time you have to do a free agent high dollar purchase to go ahead and replace what you could have drafted and put into that position, hurts the team very, very badly. And last year I was screaming, and Larry L., who no longer does a stream show, which is unfortunate because I really like Larry L., I was screaming for the Dolphins to make the trade to get Roquan Smith. I didn't buy into the Bradley Chubb thing. You were going to pay Roquan or you're going to pay Bradley Chubb the same amount of money, but I looked at Chubb and I go, well, there's a past knee injury history. I don't necessarily like that. And what Miami needed was a stud inside linebacker. I wanted you guys to get, I was very happy as a Bills fan when you didn't get Roquan Smith. What was your opinion on that? Guys,
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
well,
Culler.
it wasn't very nice to see that come to fruition right against us last week.
No, Roquan makes a one-handed pick,
I mean, I guess that's kind of your answer right there. I don't know. It's not very pleasing to see it come right back to bite us.
The guy could have had, the guy we could have had at the trade deadline turns out in Navas and
compound that
the key
with
turnover in the game.
Injured in the same damn game. It's like, all right,
in the same game, and that's who we got. Right.
The thing that I didn't understand was the draft capital that was paid to get Chubb versus what would have been a lesser draft capital, because you could have gotten Roquan Smith for a 2 and a 4. Because the Ravens got him for a 2 and a 5. And Roquan was the guy that you needed. You didn't need another guy because you had a Jalen Phillips that was developing. Yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened with him because I remember him. I remember the Buffalo game last year. I think it was the game in December that the Dolphins barely lost. I was watching Jalen Phillips warming up, and that guy's got the body of an Adonis. It's just a special player.
It's ridiculous. Having got his autograph and looked up to him within a couple of feet. Yeah, I've never seen a human being like that before.
Yeah. I mean, and if you look at this, so I look at the problem with the Dolphins being a combination.
By the way, Mark, Cameron Good, don't give up much to him. Just saying, in real, I've seen Cam Good.
Really?
In real life.
I've only seen Cameron Good in some clips at when he was at Cal. But I know he was a good player, and I don't understand why he never has gotten time playing. Channing Tindall.
Well, he is, bro. He's been getting the time.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Oh yeah, Good's been on special teams all season, and once Phillips went down, they started to rotate him in, and now that Chubb's out, we should see quite a bit of time from Good.
No, that will help, but I think Tindall. Yeah. I don't know what the issue with Tindall is. I don't know what the issue is as a comma.
Tindall is a comma, and now Cam Smith suffering the same thing. All them back-to-back years, not getting playing time.
So I see this combination. And I look at Chris Greer being there for this is his 24th year, and yes, he started in the pro player department, and he evolved over time and continued to be promoted. But this team hasn't won a playoff game in 23 years, and we don't know what's going to happen this season. And I keep seeing mistakes taking place, and the biggest mistakes that I have seen. Because in being a Buffalo fan, we went through 17 years of absolute horrible decisions in the personnel department, player personnel development, poor coaching decisions, a general manager that was making incorrect assessments, an owner that was cheap. The only thing that the Dolphins have that the Bills didn't have in that era was Stephen Ross is going to spend money. He'll do what he can to build that football team, and I commend him most certainly for that. But I look at what's happening with Chris Greer, and I see the drafting mistakes. I see the coaching hire mistakes, and I see the poor player personnel development mistakes. It's like you get these guys, you draft them. They should be better. They should be guys that you can plug in. And when you trade draft capital, and then the draft capital that you do bring in doesn't develop. And if Cameron Good's starting to develop now, congratulations. And out of this draft, what have we got out of this draft? We got A-Chain, Cam Smith.
Right, and that's the thing, Mark, is people are questioning whether, okay, why is Cam Smith not playing? And they're questioning Fangio's ability to, I don't know. I don't really. They're questioning Fangio on that, and it's like I'm over here like, well, here's a guy like Cam Good we drafted in a late round. Okay, he wasn't the supposed to be the day one guy or day soon guy like Channing Tindall was. Okay,
right,
and you see. I mean, they're different types of linebackers. Cameron Good is with the edge rushing group, and Tindall is with the Jerome Baker Van Ginkel group. You know what I mean?
He's
so
an inside guy. He's a sideline guy.
They're not competing against each other per se, other than that they were drafted in the same round, quite far apart from each other. And so when you look at their pathway, their fast track on the team, in each of their own positions, you got a guy like Cameron Good that right from the start, we had to risk him on the practice squad his rookie year. Okay, we brought him back up as soon as we could. Then we had to risk him again this year on the practice squad. We brought him back up right away, and then when it came down to the final move we could make with the practice squad, we signed him to the 53-man roster. So it shows me kind of through that. It's like watching somebody's betting patterns at the poker table. It shows me something about what they think about Cameron Good and his progression. Now, fast forward to now where you've got him taking the majority of snaps on special teams on the kickoff teams this year, okay, and on punt return and stuff like that. And then you follow that into the track of that's generally the pathway for a late round guy to get into the main rotation. Okay. Then you have the injury to Phillips. So we start peppering him in a little more into the actual rotation. Okay. And now Chubb goes down. And it's like, to me, a guy like Good, like, it doesn't matter who everybody thought he was or this and that and the other. He's followed the track that normal NFL, late round NFL guys follow to get himself on the field. And Channing Tindall has not. And obviously Cam Smith has not. And I don't think that's an indictment on Fangio while you got a guy like Cam Good that's poised and in position to either be a sleeper or be nobody and get washed out.
Let me ask.
You see, in other words,
I got
he
you,
has a
Nene.
chance to say, Cameron Good
I
has
got
a
you.
chance to say, here I am, world, and y'all didn't know about me.
Well, let me ask you a question, because Buffalo has a very similar situation with a player that they drafted last year, Tyre Elam, who was a positional mismatch for what the scheme that the Bills defense wants to play in. He's a press man-to-man cover that's got size and speed and 4.39 speed, but he doesn't fit into the defense. Now, when I was reading all the draft reports regarding Cam Smith had the size, a little handsy, admittedly, but was a solid man-to-man press corner guy. So is it a scheme fit possibly issue?
I mean, if you take the inverse of what Fangio said today, he said, let me pull back up the quote so I get it right. I shared it, so I should be able to pull it up pretty quick here. Okay, where'd it go? Well, okay, so the end of what he said was that Eli Apple has more experience and knows the defense better.
Well, okay.
So if you take the inverse of that, if you take the inverse, well, the inverse of that statement, Mark, is Cam Smith is not as experienced and doesn't know the defense as well.
Yeah, but this is what you've got to do during the season. And Buffalo has tried with Elam. They've tried to play Elam. It hasn't been particularly successful. The thing that I was concerned about more on the Dolphins side is that Cam Smith is not getting into games. There were so many games that the Dolphins have won by significant margins.
Well, that's what Nene was saying. That's what Nene was bringing up. To her credit, she's been yelling it into the wind and nobody's really answered that. Why have we not gotten this guy more acclimated in those junk time situations, win or lose? Because we've had several junk time situations this year.
What, the Denver game was over at by halftime.
And given the leaky faucet that our defense was this week, you'd think what would have hurt, right?
Well, the other thing in my thought process was you've got obviously every team's got to deal with next year's cap, and the Howard contract is extremely high. So the whole point, at least I understood it, was drafting Cam Smith was as the eventual replacement for Howard, so they can move off of that contract and have more cap compliance at the corner position. And so, to me, what I would have been doing is every time you have a situation where you've got a comfortable lead, you can rest Xavier Howard to make sure he stays healthy, and play your rookie because you want to move forward in 2024. I don't understand, and like I said, I think this was a huge mistake by the Miami coaching staff. Even if this kid gets burned and you're up by 49-10, who cares? He gets burned, he learns.
Right. Or when you're down 56-19, or 52-19, at that point.
So I have a stupid question for you guys, for both of you, and if anybody else wants to come on, I'd love to hear their opinion.
Well, Lou's got a better question for you.
Okay.
I didn't want to. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, because Lewis is a team member here. So, other producer of TFTG
and a valued contributor.
Right. So Lewis asks, and he could. I dropped the link, Lewis. You're certainly welcome to.
But I would be glad to answer Lewis's question. Somebody asked me this question the other day.
Hold on, let me read it for those who aren't watching.
Okay.
Lewis asks, I got a question. Where was Mark when the Bills were losing?
And it's a fabulous question. I'm going to give you an honest to the point answer. When they were 6-6, I was sitting, I was sitting here depressed, just wanting to fire McDermott, screaming at the walls, wondering why another season's going down the tubes of, the talent that you have on your roster. I'm damning injuries. It's like, why me? Why me? We're never going to win. And I was sad and I was depressed, and I just didn't really feel like taking the heat I most certainly deserved. And that's the God's honest truth.
So you're admitting to running. Okay, well, if you can admit to it, then there's nothing wrong with that. There you go, Lewis. He was running. The man just admitted to it.
I was depressed. I was bummed. I was hurt, and you guys would have given me the.
That's what depression and losing does for you.
I mean, I can respect that answer.
No,
I've felt that way before.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, Mark. Let's say this hypothetical does happen and things go favorable for y'all this Sunday. Do you like y'all playoff chances moving forward against a team like the Ravens or Browns?
That's a really good question, because let's just assume that Houston loses to Indianapolis and Buffalo wins and Pittsburgh will be out. The team I don't want to play in the first round is Pittsburgh. I want nothing to do with Pittsburgh, because they've got the quarterback situation fixed. They're very strong on defense. They do have injuries that are potentially impactful, but I think that they're the most viable
the Ravens
threat.
to 10 points in their first meeting.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh's defense is good. I actually went to Pittsburgh this year. We went to my son-in-law, daughter, and I went to Buffalo and Pittsburgh for the Sunday Raiders game with Buffalo, and then we went to the Monday night game with Cleveland in Pittsburgh. I hadn't been in Buffalo Stadium for years, and I'd never been to the new stadium in Pittsburgh, so it was fun. But anyway, I think if the situation
you'd rather not play the Steelers or the Texans.
I'd rather play the Texans. I would rather deal with a rookie quarterback in the snow, because we're going to get snow next week in Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo's defense.
Oh, it will be. Yeah, that's right.
A rookie quarterback.
Well, actually, I'm not in Buffalo. I'm in New Mexico by Albuquerque.
Raven 187.
We had snow today.
Hold on, Mark. Raven.
However, he did come from a college. They played in the snow in Ohio State, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hold on, guys. Raven 187 says, if Mark was a real Bills Mafia guy, he would be in a plastic lined basement somewhere getting ready to hold up a bridge pillar somewhere on I-90.
Oh my God, that's good. No, I'm out here in New Mexico. I live out here by Albuquerque.
For those of you that have been on I-90, you might get that joke. I've never been to Buffalo.
Yeah, I get the joke. But if we look at the playoffs, and let's just say Buffalo does win this game Sunday night, they get the number 2 seed, and Pittsburgh and Jacksonville wins. Jacksonville wins, they get the 4 seed. Houston gets the 7 seed. So here's the playoffs. Here's the divisional playoff, or here's the wild card.
Stop it! I have to correct you, because this keeps coming up, and the public needs to realize there is no way, other than every team tying this week, that the Colts or the Titans can fall to the 7th seed. Can we please get that out of the way?
You mean Texans?
Sure, there is.
No.
If Jacksonville wins, they win the division.
Not the Titans.
Thing up right now. I ran it.
I'm sorry. Jacksonville wins the division with a win.
There is no way they can fall to the 7th seed.
Yeah, Jacksonville can win the division just by winning.
Yeah, Jacksonville wins.
I think they'll win and get in scenario.
4 seed by winning.
To the 6th. If they fall at all, they only fall to the 6th, because it's likely that the last wild card is not going to come out of the North if Jacksonville wins it, or if the Colts and Texans win the division.
No, what will happen is if Miami loses on Sunday.
The only one I meant to say South. The only one that can fall to the 7th in the South is Jacksonville.
No. Well, no. Houston or
the Texans can fall to South 7.
Okay, let's not argue.
Color Texans can.
Lewis is cooking. I will pull it up and we will run through it together, because there's no reason we can't.
Let's go ahead and do that, because it's my understanding that the Houston Indianapolis winner,
the Texans can still be a 7
unless Jacksonville
loses.
The playoff
machine is unlimited, so there's no reason to argue. We'll just pull it up once Lewis is done cooking your ass.
Hey, Lewis, how you doing there?
What's up, Lou?
Listen, I'm fine. I'm not here to cook nobody or what's it called, but I heard
I can't hear you.
Lewis, if the Dolphins win that game Sunday, what's the cost on me getting a cooking apron from you?
Dolphins. I mean, Mark done zapped his phone. We'll have to wait till Lewis comes back. While we're waiting, I'm gonna get this playoff machine started up.
Yeah, let's see how this plays out. I thought it was played out one way, but I could be wrong. You know.
Well, currently as it is, without one game,
at least 4 times.
Without one game being played, the Colts are currently in the 7th seed. So yes, if everybody tied this week, the Colts could be in the 7th seed.
Pull up the scenario if Jacksonville wins, Pittsburgh wins, and Houston.
Or if everybody wins,
except for the Houston Indianapolis game, see how it plays out. Assuming Buffalo wins in that case.
And again, I'm only saying that I ran through it for an hour and couldn't find a scenario for the Texans or Colts to fall to the 7th.
Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario to play.
One here. I'm just saying I wasn't able to find it. So let's try.
Okay, put in this scenario.
Yeah, with the Steelers missing the playoffs, they can, Color.
Right.
I think the Steelers lose, they're out.
I'm telling you, man.
If the Steelers don't get in, they can get
every which way from Sunday, bro.
Yeah. The Steelers lose tiebreakers in Houston or Indianapolis because they lost to them head-to-head.
Look, if we find a way, then I just needed to go an hour and a half, and I would have found it. I'm just saying, I wasn't able to find it in an hour of running this thing. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I've given you the scenario to play out.
So let's go here. So we got hold on. So we got the Steelers beating Baltimore. Okay, that puts the Steelers in the 7th seed. Okay, we got Texans and Colts. Let's just pick one for the sake, because we're going to switch them around.
Pick the Colts. Let's just pick the Colts.
Right, that wins them the division without Jacksonville. And so if Tennessee and Jacksonville tied, Colts would win the division. But
let's give Jacksonville a win on Sunday against Tennessee.
Well, hold on. Let's go through these others real quick. Cleveland and Bengals. Cleveland is going to rest their people because they can't move anywhere. So the Bengals got a shot.
That game is totally meaningless.
Right.
Yeah, that game doesn't factor in nobody.
Let's say the Bengals win.
They've been already eliminated.
Let's just, and it doesn't.
Yeah, but the Bengals already been eliminated.
This game don't affect anything anyway. So let's just say the Bengals
win.
We don't need to do any NFCs right now. Chiefs beat the Chargers. Broncos, Raiders. We'll say Raiders.
It doesn't matter. The only scenario where the Broncos come into play, or the Broncos don't come into play for getting a playoff position.
Mark, save the calories, bro. We're getting there. Raiders and Broncos. Broncos have totally shut down. I'll give the Raiders the win there. Patriots, Jets.
Who cares?
Patriots. It don't affect anything. We'll say Jets. The Patriots.
Yeah.
Dolphins beat the Bills. So that puts the Bills in the 7th seed. Pittsburgh in the 6th. Now here's Jacksonville. Jacksonville, we don't have any other AFC games, right? No. Okay, so Jacksonville, Tennessee. If Jacksonville wins,
the Bills are out.
Buffalo's out.
Then
Pittsburgh
they put the
gets
pitchers
the 7th seed. Colts get the 6th, and Jacksonville wins the division. If the Titans win, Bills get the 7th seed, Pittsburgh gets the 6th, and the Colts win the division. Now let's switch up some of these other games.
But
let's switch up.
As soon as you switch the Steelers, then the Bills will go to 6.
But hold on, though. If the Dolphins don't win, then it don't matter anyway.
We already know that outcome. It'll be the 2.
Case, the Colts can get the 7th seed. But pertaining to us, it don't fucking matter. We're not talking about whether the Colts can get it or not. I'm talking about to face us. We were talking about opponents that could face Miami. And in no way.
No, I thought Mark was saying with them facing the Colts.
In no way have I been able to find yet that the Dolphins will have to face the Colts or the Texans.
No, we won't.
They never will. No, not us. He's talking about them, Color. He's talking about only the Bills.
That's all I said.
Only the Bills can face those teams. Yeah.
That's all I said.
What happens?
Right. Only the Bills can face one of those 3 teams.
Okay. Let me ask. If Jacksonville wins, Pittsburgh wins, and either Indianapolis or Houston wins, Buffalo's out. Miami's number 2, and they would play. Who would be 7 in that case? I think Jacksonville is 4.
Steelers would be 7.
It would be
Steelers are 7.
The Steelers. Now, if the Ravens win, we'll play you. If the Titans win, we play you. And then that's all that matters. So yeah,
Jacksonville game.
But the thing of it
Jacksonville
is, like,
win.
if hold on. Let me make sure that none of this changes anything. That changes that. And that changes that. So yeah, we would have to play you guys in any scenario that the Steelers and Jags, or the Steelers or Jags win or lose. We would have to play Buffalo in Miami. And if both of those win, we play the Steelers. I thought there was a way we could play Jacksonville, but I can't find it anymore.
No, you have to put the Steelers losing and Jags winning their division.
Yeah, but that still gives us the Bills.
For Buffalo to get.
There was a way that we could face the Jags.
No. But the Steelers have to. One of them has to split. No, there was a way. Both of them losing was what did it.
Oh, that's right.
Both of them have to lose.
That's right. Both of them losing.
Both of them losing. That's how. And then Jacksonville game winning the division, not winning the division.
It would be the Raiders winning. If both that was it. If the Jags and the Steelers lose, Buffalo gets the 6th seed and we face Jacksonville.
Right, they move up.
If the Raiders beat the Broncos. And the
Raiders
Browns
will have to beat the Broncos to get the Jacksonville back in the playoffs. Yeah,
right, that don't matter. So it'd be the Raiders and the Broncos would determine Buffalo's seeding if the Steelers and the Jags lose. It would be
right.
But that means the Colts win the division.
Seeding. If the Broncos win,
the Texans win the division.
No, they don't control it. It controls Pittsburgh's seeding. It controls our opponent. If the Raiders win, we get
that controls whether or not Pittsburgh win. Yeah,
we get the Steelers.
So if they lose, they'll be turning around and rooting for the Raiders.
And that's
to get
if
in
the
the playoffs.
Steelers and the Jags both lose.
Well,
right.
The Jags losing at Tennessee is a viable possibility. Houston, Tennessee. Let's just look like.
There's a revenge factor in that game.
Tennessee is the most iffy one. But I have
that's a revenge factor game because Jacksonville beat them last year to make them miss the playoffs.
The Ravens are sitting everybody, and the Steelers have their whole playoffs to play for. So, I have the Steelers beating the Ravens easily.
Actually, I like the way they played out the schedule for the games because they get Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
The key to that game, if we think the Steelers defense is that much better than our defense, then I will give them a shot.
That Jags-Titans game. The Titans don't like the Jags, and the Titans have the ability to beat the Jags. They're not in a situation where they're sitting all their starters like the Ravens are.
And I like Tannehill a lot more than Will Levis in that game. It is Tannehill's last game in Tennessee as a Titan. Maybe his last game in the NFL in totality.
The great news is, people, and Mark would probably agree with this as a Bills fan. The great news is we are all going to know
one of these.
What the hell it's going to be before kickoff 8:20 in our game. We are going to know who our opponents will be if we win. We're going to know who is who. We're going to know whether Jacksonville and everybody won or
final
lost.
Seeding.
We're going to know whether we have to play Buffalo twice in a row if we beat them.
Everything comes down to game 272.
Or not playing them at all.
Here's the question.
I do have a scheme question for you guys.
For Dolphin fans. And we ask hard-hitting questions around here at the Finns tailgate. You're not going to get this question anywhere else. So get ready, people. 2 in ears, you might want to plug your ears. Okay? McDaniel in ears, you might want to plug your ears. Hard rocking ears, you might want to plug your ears for this one. This is a hard-hitting question. If we find out that the Bills will be our wild card opponent if we win Sunday, if we already know that going into the game, would you choose to go to Kansas City and play them instead? That's the question.
That's some stuff Pat Riley do. He determined who he want to play in the playoffs. It worked out for Pat Riley. I'm not saying it can't work out for us.
Field advantage and all that.
He did that before. He did that before and won a title with it.
And what your decision would be because I'm not dismissing the advantage of home field and all that. I'm not dismissing that. What I'm saying is
the path.
Does Arrowhead's home field advantage a more of a disadvantage than playing Josh Allen and all that, even if you have home field advantage? That's the question. Not where
depends on what the game looked like going into the last quarter.
Not where you'd rather play. Which one gives us the best opportunity to win?
I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Culler, what is the game?
I want Hard Rock.
What does the game look like going into the fourth quarter?
I want the Bills.
Is it a lot of people dropping like flies? No, but if it's a lot of people dropping like flies in that game in the fourth quarter and it's a tie game, what do?
I don't know, Crypto, but here's the thing.
You want to play that same team that come back the second week and knock you out?
Remember, I already went all in by wanting the Bills to beat the Chiefs to knock the Chiefs out because I believe the Chiefs are the biggest dark horse in this playoffs tournament. Okay?
Right,
so
yeah, as far as the dark horse.
I have the Bills twice at home. You go out fighting
versus
at home,
going to Arrow.
You go out fighting
against Mahomes in 19 degrees.
I don't give a damn.
Well, it's more so if you want to play Mahomes in 19-degree weather.
If we're tied, if we're in position to win that game, right, and you're like, oh, don't want injuries. Well, obviously, we're already proving that we can beat them with injuries because we're injured now. So, no, give me the Bills twice.
Well, they could be injured too. They could be just as injured as we are, and we're still in the dogfight.
Wow, you know what? I'm gonna set that up as a poll because everybody's answering, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set that up as a poll. I gotta know what the fans think.
Yeah,
I want Buffalo twice at Hard Rock. I don't care. I'm standing on that square.
Well, we all know the fate of New England when they thought they had the same confidence level playing in back-to-back games in Buffalo. That second time around in that first wild card.
I want Buffalo twice at Hard Rock. Sorry. Let's see.
I couldn't say.
Go over here, push this button, pull this lever, turn this knob. Y'all know the drill. Let's see here. Poll. Start a poll. If we know Buffalo is our wild card opponent, would you wait?
Pull your starters.
Hold on. Do you think
Now you might want to stay at home, yeah, because this means you're hoping the Ravens lose their first round because all they need to do is win one game and they're hosting a championship game. So no matter what, they're going to host the championship game in that third week.
Here's the question. It says my question is too long. Ooh, 8 letters too long. I'll just shorten Arrowhead to KC.
Take your shot at playing Buffalo twice.
Still too long. By one question mark, really? Well, then y'all know it's a question. I don't need to add the question mark. All right. If we know Buffalo is our wild card opponent, do you think we have a better opportunity to win in Kansas City?
I'm going to say no because all it takes is for those wide receivers for Kansas City to go revert back to last year's playoff form, and they will be the same Chiefs they was that won the Super Bowl. That's the only difference in this year's Chiefs versus last year's Chiefs. Those same group of wide receivers not catching footballs. Who's to say all of a sudden they get an epiphany and start catching footballs once again? That could start happening as early as next week. So, no, I don't want to play Kansas City. Because I got some sneaky suspicion that they're going to start catching footballs again at the right time. You there, Culler?
So the answers
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
the answers are going to be: give me the cold soup, KC, or the Rock is the only place to be. Everybody, get your answers in. Poll question is up.
Cold Super KC. Yeah, I'm going to
Effectively,
say
the
the Rock
question
now
is.
because I rode
Effectively, the question is:
ability.
do you
Yeah.
do you take a risk, rest some players, effectively choose to lose so that you go to Kansas City instead of playing Buffalo a second time at Hard Rock? That's effectively the question. Get all them answers in. I
I'll
want
take the
a
gamble
good
and play
I want a
Buffalo
good
now that I
sample
think
size.
about it.
46 of you watching. We should have at least 46 answers. So get it in there, hit the like button, and make sure you're subscribed. And look, Bills fans can chime in too, because you know, y'all might be faced with the same choice. Because if we beat y'all and the Jags and Steelers don't win, you could be the ones going to Kansas City. So there's that.
Yeah, they become the 6th seed. I don't want to take my chances with this team on the road against Mahomes. Those receivers are going to start catching footballs once again. I'll take the Hard Rock because I know some reason they're going to finally say, "Look, what happened to Kansas City? They're playing good."
Well,
No, the
to
receivers started catching
me, it's only a
footballs.
matter of time before we have one of those games that absolutely destroys Buffalo at Hard Rock. You know what I mean? I just think it's a matter of time, Crypto. Whether it's next game or 10 games from now, it's going to happen eventually, you know? So give me Hard Rock twice in a row. I don't care. That's where I'm at. I know people are going to hate on
It
me.
sucks
Just
we
for
have to
asking me
rely on it.
questions, Crypto. I'm going to get so much
Oh.
hate just for even
It sucks to
asking
have to rely on it. That's the problem.
Look,
Yeah,
Nene,
they'll hate, but
Nene's here. Nene would be ripping into me right now if she was here to hear that question.
Oh,
How
yeah.
dare
She
you
said
even
she
ask
wanna.
that, Color?
Yeah, I don't. I say since we're lopsided on how well we play against good teams, even in at home against good teams, we've played
Barry
close to the
Cunningham.
best. So
This is
I better play
precisely
at
the
home.
type of thing that tells me that Barry Cunningham is taking his naysayers personal. There's absolutely no reason to say something like this because there's no way that Barry Cunningham has any clue what the sales numbers are right now and who's buying those tickets. So unless he's got some kind of inside source at Ticketmaster that lets him know, I don't think it's
Well, a lot
fair.
of people are saying
I don't
that.
think it's
Well,
fair to pull video up of a bunch of Bills fans partying on the beach to say that he can officially report that more Bills fans will be at Hard Rock on Sunday. And I think it's incredibly incredible
unless he knows that
for him to say that.
there's a video of 42,000 people
Exactly.
that he's filmed, then
Exactly.
he can make that statement.
He also doesn't realize in games past where that seems to have happened, it's because there's a whole bunch of seats open that neither Buffalo fans or Dolphins filled. And I guarantee you, based on what happened against Dallas, that those seats will be filled with people wearing Aqua jerseys. You can bet that. So they can bring their 20,000. They can bring their 30,000. We're going to have 50. And we're going to have another 20 out in the freaking parking lot. I don't think Barry Cunningham understands the magnitude of this game for Dolphin fans. Okay. He can shit on us all he wants. All he's doing is exposing himself. And I actually tried to maintain my respect for him up until what I saw today. That's absolutely ridiculous for him to report that as if he's some kind of fucking authority on the shit. Show us your cards, Barry. Show us your sources. Tell us who at Ticketmaster told you how many freaking Buffalo fans are buying tickets. Show us. I want to see the receipts. say something like that on the eve of the most important game we've had in 20 some years. I held out.
Yeah,
for
but
you,
even with that,
I
that's
held
not
out
that's
for you, Barry. I still maintain respect for you because a lot of your takes about Tua and our
but that
offense and all
shouldn't
that
determine the game
are
though.
spot on, and it's just haters that can't handle that shit. But this shit shows your true colors, bro. Just saying. You ain't no Dolphin fan to me, bro. That's sowing
Nah,
discord.
I
That's
don't think he
sowing
was. He never
discord.
claimed. I
That
don't
is
know if he claimed
sowing.
to be one.
That is purposely sowing demoralization in our fan base. He can go fuck himself. I'm sorry. It is my opinion that he could go fuck himself. We'll see, Barry. We'll see if you're there, Barry. You gonna show up? You a fan? You gonna come rah your aqua?
No, he's a Cowboy fan.
Huh?
I thought he was a Cowboy fan.
I don't care what he is. He don't need to be speaking on internal matters that he has no business speaking on to demoralize our fan base.
I don't think they should let that demoralize him.
Oh, it don't. Do I sound demoralized?
Because they're what you. No, a fan appearance shouldn't demoralize. They should just go out on the field and play football. Be quiet on third downs and yell on the air third downs. I think that's how they do it.
What was that, Crypto? I'm sorry. I had to take a phone call.
No, I'm saying third downs. Just be loud on their third downs and be quiet on ours. That's how to play the game.
Well, the thing of it is, bro, is that Dallas had a really good showing to their credit. And you couldn't really notice that until they started to have a chance to steal the game from us. When their crowd started to get kind of loud. And I'm like, wow, I guess they did show
Got
up.
louder in the fourth quarter. Right.
And in the tailgate out in the
that's because they was at the concession stand.
Well, here's the thing. Out in the parking lot, I thought it was going to be rough because there was a lot of Dallas fans. But then in the game, they were kind of quiet until they had a chance to steal the game. But even if you go back to that, here's the thing. Those seats that I was talking about earlier that are neither filled by us or our opponent, those are filled by us now. And it didn't matter what Dallas did, how good a showing they had. It was the loudest I've heard that stadium since I was a kid. And when I went back and watched the film, the broadcast of the Jason Sanders game-winning field goal, you could hear a pin drop. So Barry Cunningham can go kick rocks with that opinion that there are more Bills fans going to show up.
We'll know come Sunday night. It's
I've
game
actually
time.
been there recently.
Yeah,
I was in the stadium the last time we played there. In a game that didn't mean near as much as this one does.
Yeah.
Crypto, they had tour buses showing up emptying out Dallas fans, bro.
Oh, they was paying big money for that game. They paying $7,000 for ticket packages and stuff, and they was buying in hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, I know, Sal.
They wanted to see that Christmas
I know.
game.
I was about to say the first reports of that stuff coming out. Sal saying Barry is just simply reporting Buffalo news. Yeah, exactly. He's running with Buffalo news. What would you expect Buffalo news to say? Is he going to report what I'm saying right now about witnessing the Dallas game? Is he going to report that? Or am I too small? Am I not as big as Buffalo news? Miss me with that shit.
Yeah. Well, We got 3 more days to figure it all out. They don't sell out their tickets to other fans.
Well, we're rolling on 3 hours.
Got
and
us to blame
all night. What do we got tonight? Nothing on our end, right?
Not that I heard from. Not that I hear.
Well,
I didn't hear
nobody else
Shake
wanted
say
to
he was
come up
doing
and
nothing.
talk, so I'm good with that. I don't need to get in a big old argument with everybody. So what do you got, man? I mean, I don't even care about predictions at this point, to be honest with you, bro. It's going to be what it is. The team that shows up is going to blow out the other team. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the finale.
If we would have won last week, that's exactly how it would have gone last week. They would have been the ones not show up.
Right. Who's taking it more serious when the biggest game is at stake? Yeah, we have to stave off an epic collapse, and they have to complete a fearsome comeback. So a lot on the line for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Wyatt Earp standing in front of or Kurt Russell standing in front of Billy Bob Thornton, slapping him in the face. Mm-hmm. Throw down, boy. It's time.
Yeah, we had the Wild West. Everybody got their spur boots on, and we're having a duel. Busting through the saloon with the spur boots and with guns blazing.
And if we don't do it, then we suffer what we've earned for ourselves, and that's a trip to Kansas City. Then it's time to throw down out there.
And then the new meme, if that was to happen, Mike McDaniel, don't say is it cold enough, because it will be cold.
Man. Oh yeah, he's that cold.
You can't make that statement.
I don't know. He's from Denver, bro. I'm pretty sure he can handle that.
Oh, he probably can. But the player, his personnel, most of them probably wouldn't want that. Oh, they'll rather take the snow in Buffalo than the cold weather in freaking Kansas City.
You didn't miss nothing, Shake. I spent the first hour or so talking about all the subjects of the day for the past 2 days without anybody over talking me, and then I just kind of opened it up. Mark chopped it up. Lewis came up and chopped it up a minute. Crypto's been up here. Other than that, we're just saying it's time to throw down. This is the time. That's what the title of the show is, TuaTime for TuaDimes. That's what it is at the Rock.
Yeah, we can't
where we play our best game.
We need dimes.
I mean, we got a loss there, but where we play our best game.
No time for pennies.
Only place we've beaten Buffalo in the last 4 meetings.
Right.
Miss Fins has a
friendly
question.
confines.
How will
I haven't heard from Miss Fins in a while.
How will the fan base be with the worst case scenario? Will we break as a fan base? Oh no. We might scrim up as a fan base, but we ain't breaking. Some of us been here way too long.
Yeah, we
to
turn
break.
out. Right, Miss Fins.
It'll trim
fan
down.
base will be in shambles.
We'll trim some fat off of it, but yeah, we definitely ain't gonna break.
Well, Miss Fins, you've heard me say this before. If that was to happen, buckle up. Buckle up is gonna be a hell of a ride. If that was to happen, because this fan base will be lit.
If we're having this same conversation 5 years from now with still no results, I'm still here. Long as I've, and then, long as my carbon-based flesh lets me live that long,
Yep.
Yeah,
Miss Fins, we that will be hell to pay, because the next game will be all about, if we lose in dramatic fashion like we did last week, the next week's game will all about preventing Stephen Ross from giving a press conference. That's what that game will be about.
I have been as fair as I possibly can be, and I have stood 10 toes down from the beginning that it is I who will remain here, not the Tua sycophants.
The goal, if we were to lose, if we were to lose, given that we still have a playoff game, is to prevent Stephen Ross from giving a press conference in the following week. Because I almost guarantee you he will be giving a press conference if we go out in flames like that.
And the
You
next
heard it here
quote unquote,
first.
and the next quote unquote Tannehill / Tua / type quarterback we get, I'll still be here after that guy's gone too.
Yeah. We're going to call that the Steve. Matter of fact, I'm going to give it a nickname if we were to lose to Buffalo. The Kansas City game will be the Stephen Ross Bowl. How about that? I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. It's the Stephen Ross Bowl. Because he would have all eyes on that game. That's what the fan base is going to be facing, Miss Fans. We're going to be facing the Stephen
And
Ross
don't
Bowl
doubt
in
it.
Kansas City.
Don't doubt that the NFL still wants the Tyreek going back to Kansas City matchup.
Exactly. It'd be the Tyreek Revenge Tour / Stephen Ross Bowl. He wants to make up for that fumble at Arrowhead in the cold weather. Well, he has called cold footballs there, so at least he's not foreign to that.
Well,
He
that's
has called cold football.
That's kind of part of the poll question too. I mean, we got a guy, our best receiver spent his entire career in Kansas City. He's not used to walking out of that stadium a loser. And the last time I said that about a man was Brian Flores, who wasn't used to walking out of New England a loser either. And as such, we beat them quite often with him in New England.
Yep.
So
he did.
What I'm saying is, hold some water. Tyreek is not used to walking out of Arrowhead a loser. And that is an important intangible.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, that being said, I appreciate everybody still hanging. All those that have watched so far today. I hope we've got something going on tonight. It's Thursday. It's kind of
it is Thursday.
It's
a weird
day. Everybody does
Yeah.
have this whole Fangio thing on the tip of their brain for some reason. So maybe somebody will fire it up later. But I felt the need to have a cup of coffee this afternoon and to pour it all over y'all. So appreciate every one of you coming. Crypto, thank you for joining me this afternoon and evening. To give me somebody to talk to. And everybody hit the like button. Make sure
much
you're
better
out
than
on the link.
eating.
What's that?
Much better than eating I said it's much better than eating a whole bunch of vitamin D3 gummy bears. It tastes good though.
Well, we're gonna close the coffee shop on this note. We just got to do it. Said it all year. I don't know what else to say. It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, it's night. And that's when the freaking game is played. So, hey. Fins up, guys. Thank you again, Crypto.
Fins up, everybody.
Yep, fins up, everybody. We got this, man.
Yes, sir.